Why, Trinidad, you see the name of this video? A busy Sunday. Today's Sunday. I don't do video on Sunday, so unless something going on, and so much thing going on today. I talk about all of them. No, this is the first, I can't remember if I have ever had a Sunday where I did 2 videos. The second video for Sunday. And there's plenty thing going on in the country. And we're dealing with a lot of seniors now. And it's scratching at a lot of stuff because for the first time in the country's history, the established order, not just the political order, not just the moneyed class, not just the contract mafia, but all of it, everything that thought itself was absolute authority in Trinidad and Tobago is being challenged. And they're being challenged to perform. And they're being challenged on their record. And it's causing them some stress. And that stress is causing some pushback. And it's being pushed back all through society. Because I remember when Gary was when he was Minister of National Security, and we cut out all the gangs getting funding from the state, it started to increase robberies and things because these fellas needed funding for their activities and to pay their henchmen and things. So you had to know if you squeeze here, what will come out there. So let me deal now. Earlier today, the first thing we want to address is the video that we did today. And we did a video today and we highlighted Sunita's issue. Sunita was the young lady who went to the Marabella Health Center and was turned away because at 3:45, Marabella people say they done work. And there was a gang inside of there. Doctors, nurses, clerks behind the desk. Fire truck you. But all you're forgetting, social media. You see, this ain't Guardian and Express that you could bribe and get them to run bullshit. This is real media. Social media allows people to have their say. Now, if we lose social media, we will lose a serious advantage in the conversation, and that's why that crew fighting it so bad. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked. Sunita's issue, and I read Sunita's issue into the public space today. And we had a member of parliament on the video with us. And a lot of this I refer and forward to senior office holders, including the Commissioner of Police. The Southwest Regional Health Authority put out this afternoon, 3 hours ago, for immediate release. Response to a Facebook post, recare at the Marabella Health Center. San Fernando, 9 February 2019, the Southwest Regional Health Authority, SWRHA, notes with concern a client's Facebook post regarding access to care at the Marabella Health Center on the afternoon of Friday, 8 February 2019, not 24 hours past yet. In response to the client's complaint, the SWRHA has launched an immediate investigation in accordance with the relevant, protocols and procedures. We have since been in contact with the client to discuss any further concerns, and the relevant arrangements have been made. The Southwest Regional Health Authority wishes to take this opportunity to reaffirm its commitment to the continued provision of quality healthcare at all our healthcare facilities. Now, we are waiting and we are following that keenly for one reason. That those in authority in the society need to understand. I put out a post today for people and I want to read it now so that you understand this. And this is what the Progressive Empowerment Party is for, the empowering of the people. Every member of parliament, the speaker, every senator, the president of the Senate has a duty to the people of this country to keep the people's parliament to the highest standard, highest of standards of integrity, to hold sacred their oaths of office, and to discharge their duties with dignity and respect. Every judge has a responsibility to the people of this country to keep their justice system, the people's justice system, functioning to the highest of standards and above reproach, and to discharge their duties even-handedly, blind to race, gender, class, and any other social divider. Every public officer of any kind in any office has first a responsibility to the public to whom they owe their employment and their respect, to discharge their duties with professionalism, dignity, and courtesy. Every senior office holder from the president down, and including the prime minister, the opposition leader, the chief justice, the chief magistrate, every mayor and every government minister and constitutional office holder has first a responsibility to the people of this country to discharge their duties to the highest standards and to carry themselves with the demeanor deserving of the title and office, so as to be also exemplars to the citizenry and an example to all and sundry of what we aspire to as a nation and a people. Any of these incapable of understanding this or carrying themselves in such a manner should be removed from public office with haste. Any of the above mentioned who do not comport themselves in ways befitting servants of the public should be dismissed without quarrel or reservation. We, the people of this nation, have a duty to this nation, to ourselves and to each other, to ensure that all of this is so. If what we want is to achieve the lofty standards we set for ourselves in our constitution and our national anthem, understand this. Trinidad and Tobago is a republic. It is ruled by law. Tomorrow morning on 104.7 between 9 and noon, we're going to be touching on the Constitution again. And the law, the supreme law, the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, that speaks all of those offices into existence, it speaks it on the people's behalf. First, it recognizes the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and I want you to be clear in your mind that there is no office of state in this country above the people. No office of state from the president down can take for granted the authority of the public. I had to tell that security guard today. He said he want to close government property. I said, brother, there is no such thing as government property. There is public property that governments come and governments go and are charged with overseeing. And one of those overseeing actions is to hire you to secure it. Understand, the tail don't wag the dog. The people of Trinidad and Tobago own this country. They own that parliament. They own it. They have the authority to put in that parliament who they want in that parliament and write into law laws that benefit all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And for the first time in this country's history, the people are feeling like they have an organization in the Progressive Empowerment Party that they could trust. Make it so. This evening, a guy sent me a video. He didn't want to send it to the police. He didn't want to send it to the Police Complaints Authority. He didn't want to send it to any public office holder until I saw it. So he sent me the video of a police officer driving a X Trail, drive off the road and try to run him over. That's what the video is showing. Now, I don't have the start and I don't have the end, but I have that. And I have a picture of the police officer driving the vehicle. So I sent both to the commissioner. And the commissioner asked that the gentleman send him a report. I asked that the gentleman copy me. Because I know that Gary will take action. Because his legacy now is on the line, the actions of every officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And Gary Griffith is an example now to what we're talking about. And I tolerate all the people who come on my threads because you're jaded and you're accustomed being treated like shit and you're given nothing as representation. So you want to keep pulling at the man. Every time you do something, you want to pull at him and say, well, do something more, do something else. If you can walk on water, moonwalk. That's us. But it's okay. Because we in this thing long enough that we understand that it will take a while for the people to unclench their fists and accept that it is possible to put in public office people of serious integrity whose only interest is building for themselves and for the nation a proper legacy going forward. We've had too many people driven by greed hold public office. Too many, far too many of all kinds in every branch and aspect of this state. We've had too many people driven by greed, manipulated behind the scenes, and committed to the wrong actions. We need to undo that. The Progressive Empowerment Party promises to reboot the Republic from the top down. Nadia Hero says the PayPal is not working still. Nadia, please message Felicia Holder directly. Feel free to copy me. Trinidad and Tobago. Again, there was a third thing. Or this. Now, when I started, I was talking about how things are forcing other things to act a certain way. Because people are having to defend. You see, if you are, even bandits have bills to pay, you know. As funny as that sounds. Even bandits have bills to pay. Even bandits have courts and standards and rent and mortgage and bank loan and all that kind of thing to pay. And it's not everything you can shoot up. So even bandits, if you lose your source of bandit income here and you have yourself owing bills that exceed your normal or your real salary, because I'm talking about bandits in public office now, because we know there are bandits in public office. There are bandits in the licensing office. There are licensing officers in Trinidad and Tobago engaged in open criminality. And we need an urgent inquiry and investigation. Now, personally, if I were the Prime Minister, I would ask Trinidad and Tobago to understand that for a brief minute, we are going to have to be without a licensing authority. Give us a week. We want to shut it down, completely dismiss everybody. Fire everybody. Because it's rotten. Everybody in Trinidad and Tobago who has any dealings with licensing office knows. There are 800,000 vehicles on the road, so that means 800,000 permit. So that means 800,000 car transaction. So that means 800,000 people out of 1.4 million know that our licensing office is corrupt. And we just shut it down, gut it, end it, compartmentalize it up to this day, and do forensic investigations into that. And launch a proper licensing authority, vest in it. The only thing that you have to transfer are the sanitized records of ownership of vehicles. And any vehicle documents that raise a red flag, you put that aside and you call the owner in for a conversation about the vehicle. And that's how you're going to resolve all of these issues. But you want to start something pristine and clean. You also want to have a conversation with the existing staff of the licensing office in whom there is a brain trust. And you need to, using things like polygraph, because we need to get ahead. Because it corrupted and rotten. It corrupted and rotten. So using things like polygraph and investigations determine, and you're going to have to make some judgment calls, because you need people who could operate, but it is pretty much a simple thing. And the fact that it's not yet computerized in this 2x4 country begs a lot of questions. And I think that the reason it's not computerized is that computerization allows for fast investigation, and fast investigation could be an impediment to corruption. But if you had a proper computerized licensing authority in Trinidad and Tobago, we could solve a lot of the problems taking place just there. And in every aspect of all of everything that is Trinidad and Tobago, everything could be solved. I don't want to go into it too deeply, but in the news there today, I read this. Orapooch East MP Rudal Munilal says he wants a meeting with Police Commissioner Gary Griffith to discuss information that certain political operatives are seeking to induce senior police officers into accepting political office as an inducement to do their bidding. Certain political operatives. I'll tell Trinidad and Tobago something. There are criminals in government now engaged in the most reprehensible of behavior right now. And it's starting to leak out because you can't hide this for too long. And to clean this country, we are going to have to force a lot of this open banditry out in the open. In every branch of government, we are going to have to follow the money in a lot of these situations. When he said certain political operatives, now if you know Monilal at all, you know, he said that for a reason. He didn't mean appointed people, he didn't mean elected people. So we're now looking at behind the scenes people. That is something I've taken note of, and as a matter I intend to in the coming days to either discuss or write to the Commissioner of Police to alert him of that type of intelligence which has come to my attention within recent times. Sorry about that. Kind of weird. This has happened with my computer. The MP who had raised the issue on Friday during debate on the Trespass Amendment Bill in the House of Representatives, which was passed by a simple majority, alleged the police officers were being lured by offers of future political careers. Now remember what Prakash Ramadhan told you all this morning on the live video, that the woman who had no authority to seize a property that she did not own came with police officers to enforce that. Monilal said the development was tantamount to a diabolical and deadly cocktail, and if it is true, I agree. On whether he had reported to the police allegations that rogue officers had helped in kicking people out of their homes for gangsters to move in, Monilal said he learned of the situation in 2013 during his term as housing minister in the former People's Partnership Administration. In discussions at that time, it was around 2013, that type of information would have been relayed to the police. It was not a question of going to make a report, but it was the sort of information and intelligence we had when persons came to the ministry to report that persons had taken over their homes and intended to throw them out illegally. He added, but in one case in particular, we had called for the police, and before the police even arrived, the person got another threatening phone call, actually making a connection that it was reported to the police. Monilal could not say if that situation was still occurring. My question is, if it was occurring then, it's occurring now, because what was there to be to stop it? We were looking at it, and I don't know what happened over time, but it's something we were conscious of. We had reports like that in 2014, I heard nothing, but Monilal said even National Security and Communications Minister Stuart Young had related a story a few months ago about a police officer going on a raid, and before they reached on the raid, someone from the police station had tipped off the person. Now you tell me, why don't we have a law, and Monilal mentioned it, why don't we have a law forbidding people crossing the branches? We have a separation of powers for a reason. Why don't we have a law preventing police officers becoming political operatives or members of parliament, or receiving political appointments? We have issues that are going on in the actual parliament. Now, I don't want to get in between PNM and UNC business. I don't want to get in between them. But in the recent weeks here, and I know that it's happening carnival time, and people not paying attention, but in the recent weeks here, we've had some things happen in the parliament. Now, the parliament is supposed to be self-regulated, self-correcting. It has a privileges committee, which is tantamount to being able to remove you from the parliament where you're elected to represent the people. It's a massive action. It's a massive, massive action to take. This last week here, two things occurred in the parliament. One of them was a leak of information from the privileges committee, and it was published in a parliamentary media release. Now understand, that is confidential information. That is against the law. I have been told that the opposition have tried to raise that issue, and they're being blocked in the parliament from correcting itself. We have a problem there. We have a real problem right there. I've said to Trinidad and Tobago, I am not going to be arbitrating PNM UNC nonsense. To my mind, all of them have to get fired. But for right now, in this time, we need the Parliament to stand as a beacon representing all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and reflective of their wishes, not of those who sit in the House. It is not a prize. You didn't win a prize. You were employed and sent on a mission. Every time you sit in that House of Representatives, you sit there literally representing the 29, 35, 40,000 people who sent you to that house. And that is what has to obtain. Anything else going on, anything else at all going on, brings the entire country. We stop being a democracy right there. It affects our democracy. It undermines the sanctity of our status as a Republican nation, an independent country ruled by law. The Parliament, and I said earlier, every member of Parliament, everyone, every member of Parliament, the Speaker, every Senator, the President of the Senate, has a duty to the people of this country to keep the People's Parliament to the highest of standards of integrity, to hold sacred their oaths of office, and to discharge their duties with dignity and respect. We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, have to be very careful. I want you to understand, the money in your pocket exists by dint of a law. The transactions it is capable of doing exists by dint of a law. The taxes you pay, the fines levied, what you can do, how you can move, all of those are laws. All of those are laws. And we need to make sure that the place from which our laws come is functional. And it is functioning to the highest standards. We, the people of this nation, have a duty to ourselves and to each other to ensure that all of this is so. It is important. It is very important. Our public offices, I'm saying to Trinidad and Tobago, a progressive empowerment party government would purge the public sector. Purge it completely. There are offices of state in this country where everybody needs to be fired. We need to start over. Nothing in Trinidad and Tobago is rocket science because we don't own no rockets and we have very little science. Everything in Trinidad and Tobago is for the most part bookkeeping. And we have enough people in graduate school that we could fill every single vacancy and to keep this country running. From the goods landing on the port and clearing, go right forward to the taxes that deserve to be collected. The country cannot continue to be buoyed by these raging currents. We need to get back, and I'm using the word back in the loosest sense definition because I don't know of a time when this country ever felt like it was a real country. I believe Eric Williams was a criminal. I believe that. I believe Eric Williams was party to some of the most heinous crimes in this country. Eric Williams. And that everything that is wrong in Trinidad and Tobago has flowed from what he put in place, what he allowed. There are a lot of people in this country that still to this day are exerting influence from the Williams PNM. I want to give you an example. I know a guy. He is the son of a, you could say, a founding member of the PNM. High class, high end, well-known lawyer. And his son created a rental company for vehicles. And his son also created a company, no, an organization that's supposed to endorse and set standards for auto rentals in Trinidad and Tobago. It had one member, him. but it was registered, it was duly registered, and it put out reports that his rental company was above board and it was regulated. And as silly as that sounds, I mean, literally himself to himself, but that's how the country is run now, is friends and family in the execution and the oversight position. So you are about to do wrong, and the people who are supposed to say, hey, are there in your employ. They're literally in your employ. We watch that with the media when CNC3 sicked a women's network against me for having the audacity to call out Hema Ramkissoon for her hatchet job on PEP members. And lo and behold, that women's organization was a CNC3 employee and practically a CNC3 construct on a CNC3 payroll. So how could you adjudicate over yourself? And how could CNC3 be so underhanded? And I think Tony Sabga should be turning in his grave. How could CNC3 be so underhanded to knowingly put into the public space information that they knew was corrupt and a lie? Corrupt. The International Women's Resource Network had its first duty, its first responsibility was to declare its bias and demonstrate its connection to CNC3 before being allowed to have an opinion on any quarrel. It's like you in a lawsuit with another person, and you in the court, and the two are arguing, and when the judge tell both of you to stand down, the person you in court would say, but daddy, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? It cannot be so. Full disclosure is important, because anything other than that, it's like when Keith Rowley for Emailgate, Ken Gordon, and now I know Ken Gordon's children. I grew up with Ken Gordon's children. I have the greatest respect for some of them. And again, when Philip Edward Alexander have to make a public decision, I will never forget. I will never forget. You see, I lose so much with this politics. I'll never forget when this guy, he just shared a lot of Dominic Kalipasad. Dominic Kalipasad called me on the phone and said, Phil, you know the project we're working on squash. I said, why? He said, they're going against Ken. Ken is the president of the company. Now, I wasn't going against Ken Gordon, but I was not accepting that the opposition leader, Keith Rowley, should have been allowed to go and prosecute a matter before the chairman of the Integrity Commission, then it was Ken Gordon. The opposition leader should never have been allowed to prosecute a matter before the chairman of the Integrity Commission, home by him, with only two of them. That is the living definition of a kangaroo court. The accused, not present. It's like if you read Alice in Wonderland, when the queen say, judgment first, trial after. That's what we did. That's what Keith Rowley did with Emailgate. Judgment first, trial after. And his attorney general, who is fully aware that Emailgate is foolishness, is still trying, to this year, last year, when every authority, local, regional, and international, rubbished Emailgate for what they claimed it was. Now, I want to tell you something else. Information has been said to me that there is some veracity to something, but the way the information was arrived at, the way Emailgate's information was compiled, if it's true, it's treason. And those involved could be put to death by the state for their actions, because it was a literal attempted coup against the government by senior office holders in Trinidad and Tobago. But stick a pin, because that's not the conversation, and they've yet to do that investigation. But when Keith Rowley went to Ken Gordon's house, he broke all the rules, and he shattered the illusion of justice. What he was trying to do, what Keith Rowley was trying to do, was to assemble a gang and go after the government. And I sat with that gentleman, Keith Rowley, on the round table for about 6 or 7 meetings or more. We had one big march. I was one of the speakers. And I sat with him. I sat with him, Faris, Jennifer Baptiste Primus, Ansel Roger, David Abdullah, and all of the civil society, political parties, union leaders. It was called the Round Table. And it was assembled to address Section 34. And after Section 34 was addressed, it was supposed to end. But they wanted to continue on and absorb all of us into the PNM. I said, no, thank you. I did not sign up for that. I wasn't interested. And that is the time when political operatives of the PNM was trying to convince me to accept nomination for the Diego Martin Central seat. I wasn't interested in being a part of either the PNM or the UNC. But that's a whole other aside. When they were trying to absorb us all into the PNM, I said, no, thank you. And a bunch of us left when Emailgate happened, because in the second to last and the last meeting, what they were talking about, including Ansel Roger of the OWTU, is finding other ways to politically maneuver. Now, Ansel Roger was the head of the OWTU at the time. Look at the outcome of all of that. Where is Petrotrid and all of those oil field workers? You see what a tangled web we weave when first we conspire to deceive? The country needs a fresh government capable of holding the reins, securing the nation, and emptying out all of these conspirators from public office. That's what it needs. It needs that urgently. Because you will be reading a newspaper and hearing the newspaper talk about an organization, and that organization being represented by another organization, and you will be none the wiser that the newspaper, the organization that they reported on, and the other organization that is talking about this, for all of them is one thing and in cahoots, and you'd be none the wiser, and there's nobody and no way for you to know. And were it not for social media, Guardian Media would have gotten away with that. They would have gotten away with that. And they want to sue me for that. Let's go to court. And I'm saying this clearly because I am accustomed to hearing my words from my live videos transcribed and read back to me. I will make sure Norman Sabga is one of the witnesses that I call, because they are going to have to defend now what their agenda is. The truth of the matter, the absolute truth of the matter is, Trinidad and Tobago has for too long, I had to tell people today, let me read this there. I want to read exactly what I wrote so that you will know. Defamation in a failed nation. Now, I become a bush lawyer because of all these lawsuits. It's 5 now, you know, 5. If you post something negative on Facebook, on social media, about someone else, but another person can believe it can apply to them, it could be considered defamation against them in this banana republic. Let's just say you refer to somebody and their sexuality. and somebody else think that fall in their garden, their lawyers could go to court and say, Your Honor, we think it's about us. And instead of he who alleging having to prove, you now have to disprove a negative. You have to be able to convince the court that that is not that person I was talking about. And because you did not disclose who you were talking about in the first place, I had posted a Morgan Freeman meme. Here, man, all I post is the meme that said, some of my posts have nothing to do with you. But if the shoe fits, lace that bitch up and walk around in it. Do you know that that meme was read back to me in a court? Somebody claimed that that meme is for them too. I almost had to summon Morgan Freeman and whoever is the authority on memes. I think it might be Jacques-Claude Escalante by now. I think he's the minister of memes. But as ridiculous as that sounds, in Trinidad and Tobago, because when we're in a courtroom, it doesn't read like this. These people, and I'm telling you, so this is what I said, believe it or not, people can actually troll social media looking for posts about wrong behavior. And if their lawyers can make a case that it also applies to them, they could sue you. Reflect on what the justice system is being used for. Protecting wrongdoers from having a reputation as a wrongdoer based on reputations they think they deserve. Hear that again? This is what they're trying to do. So if you think you're a crook and you come across a post on Facebook talking about crooks and you think it applies to you, you could go to the court and say, he called me a crook. Now, early in the game, I didn't understand how this thing works. Now I do. And I have a fighting chance. But before, I had a lawyer who was answering everything. I meet lawyers now who tell them, wait until court. We'll discuss it in the court. But the court is being asked to protect wrongdoers. And I'm calling them wrongdoers or alleged wrongdoers because they think they have that reputation. I didn't call their name. But if the shoe fit partner or cisgen or whichever of the genders or any of the genders you fit in, because you believe you already have that reputation, my question is, how is that defamation? If a rose by any other name is still a rose, then my reference to a rose, if a rose claims it, it doesn't change the fact. If the only reason for you claiming my statement is that you think I am calling you a wrongdoer because you think you have a reputation as a wrongdoer, how is that my problem to solve? How is that my problem to solve? No. I'm wrapping up a matter right now. And I'm vexed that I didn't know what I know now then. But I had a deal and we had to go and we might have to. I don't know what happens next in this banana republic. I'm telling you all plain. But at some point, somebody has to get into government and come to you and show you how it doesn't work. When you heard a member of parliament today, Prakash Ramadan, in that interview, I want you to hear this, eh? When Prakash Ramadan was in government, he was the Minister of Legal Affairs. And the Police Complaints Authority came under him. Prakash Ramadan is out of government now. And he had an issue with police. He is still in the parliament. But he didn't go and report it to the Police Complaints Authority. And that shows you a seasoned attorney like Prakash. That shows you and I don't want to think for him. But what we need is an actual government with an actual legislative agenda. Faris Al-Rawi's legislative agenda, since he's been Attorney General, has done nothing of value for this country. Their pretense that they're fighting crime is a suppression of civil liberties and human rights. If you have not yet secured the nation's borders, bring nothing to the parliament. Because if you know, and you said you know, and you, Faris Al-Rawi, said, you said it, that both the Prime Minister and the then Minister of National Security, Edmund Dillon, both knew and were aware that securing the nation's borders would solve a lot of the crime that we have in this country. If you knew that and you did nothing about it up till now, bring nothing to the parliament. Bring nothing. Bring no laws. Change no laws. The flooding problems we have in this country don't need laws to fix it. The guns don't need laws to fix it. The drugs that move in through Trinidad and Tobago, it don't need laws to fix it. Good evening to Dale Enoch, who just joined us from, I think he's on I-95. All of the big media people now pay attention to what's going on this wall for a reason. Because we discuss the issues here that they don't get to discuss. They don't get to. And again, I'm coming back to this. If the Attorney General said that he knew and that the Prime Minister and the then Minister of National Security knew that securing the nation's borders would end the drug trade, end the human trafficking, end the illegal guns, the 30,000 guns that the Prime Minister then, Keith Rowley, said was in this country. If the Attorney General knew that, and the Prime Minister knew that, and the Minister of National Security knew that, why bring anti-gang laws? Why? Why bring those laws? And those laws have done nothing. For all that you said that it would solve, you've not done. It has accomplished nothing, and the borders are still wide open. The guns still flowing. 19 little Venezuelan girls under 16 and up, between the ages of 15 and 19, were smuggled into this country and used as sex slaves on Arapita Avenue and Westmoreland. Now you tell me how the government could speak with any authority knowing that they are aware that securing the borders would end the human trafficking, that if they had done it since 2015 when they came into office, those little girls would not have been able to be smuggled into Trinidad and Tobago to be used as sex slaves. The Muslim video that all of y'all sharing with all the AR-15 and AK-47 and all them stunters, all them little bad boys stunting and posing with gun, none of that would be possible if the guns couldn't come in the country. So all this work Gary Griffith have to do now to clean it up would be unnecessary if you secure the borders. So why haven't we done that yet? Manning Pandey, Kamala Rowley all say that the police service is full of rogue elements. If you go through the Hansard, if you go to the Hansard from 1962 to now, if you could load the Hansard from 1962 to now, and just type the words rogue police as a search and just keep hitting enter, 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 you'll probably get it said over 1 million times. Rogue police. corrupt police in the service. So you've known since 1962, and coming forward, we've done nothing. A simple internal affairs division inside the police service, charged with the responsibility of prosecuting corrupt police officers, would clean it, would flush it dry. Tonight, that police officer in that red X-Trail that tried to run, that come off the road to bounce down that man, tonight, his gun and badge will be in his superior's hands. And if the vehicle he was driving was a state vehicle, he'd be looking for a taxi on the corner now. If we had a proper setup, internal affairs division in the police service. If we had built the maritime security wall when Patrick Manning was told to build the maritime security wall to end the drug trade, then we would have saved, by the loosest estimate, because it would have ended the drug trade, but it would have prevented the amount of illegal firearms that we have in the country. There was a time when I was a little boy, if you hear one person get murdered for the year, it occupied the country for about 3 months. You know, murder. Murder you're talking about, boy? Somebody get shot. Now, it don't make front page unless it exceptionally heinous. 52 people dead, 14 of them beheaded. Well, all right, that's a front page. But murder is page 7 now. Murder is page 7. And if Manning had secured the nation's borders back in 1992, here we're talking about 1992, we could have saved about 5,000 lives. Think about that. Think about that. This is why you need to empty institutions. Empty it out. We have to shut down our Coast Guard and start over. Interview everybody. Polygraph everybody. Investigate everybody. And your internal affairs, let it investigate Army, Immigration, Customs, and Coast Guard too. Because you need law enforcement to be above reproach. We cannot continue to live in a country that believes that every one of those state organizations that I just referred to, Immigration, Customs, Coast Guard, Army, Police, corrupt and broken. We cannot continue to live in a country where everybody thinks that. If I say, name the first word come out your mind, if I say licensing office, you say corrupt. So why we ain't fix it? Why Manning, Pandey, Kamala, Rowley ain't fix it? Hard to fix. Are they saying that it's hard to fix? Because we could show them how in less than one term all them things fix. In the first 6 months, they're going to have plenty old talk. Boy, just saw the bus metro, boy, just saw the fireman, 33 years long service. You're going to hear all that. And you know what will be coming as the tail? When you find out 33 years long service, but your own tree house, and you can't explain where the money come from. Think it through. If the people of the country believes every organization of state is corrupted, why would it be corrupted? These people didn't corrupt themselves, you know. They didn't corrupt themselves, you know. They were corrupted for a bigger purpose. I do not think that these little 2x4 gangs, I remember the first time somebody mentioned a gang in Trinidad and Tobago, I think they referred to the gang as Young and Restless. I don't know if that gang still exists. But that's the first gang I heard about in Trinidad. That must be about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know. And I thought, Trinidad, a gang? How we end up with a gang in Trinidad and Tobago when everybody know everybody? everybody must know everybody. And I don't care what kind of gang you is. You could be a Chinese gang. You could be a Muslim gang. You could be a Syrian gang. You could be a Caucasian gang. Whatever kind of gang you are, it's easy to take you apart. It's easy to end the gang culture in Trinidad and Tobago. It's real simple, you know. And Gary Griffith is the right man for the job. But Keith Rowley is not the right Prime Minister for the job. And Stuart Young is woefully miscast as a Minister of National Security. If your stepdaughter is a drug baron and you don't know, fire yourself. Fire yourself. Stuart should have been fired that day because he's the Minister of National Security. He should know what's going on in his own house. But stick a pin there too. We had some little small gangs. I seen Oliver and them talking and calling Panthers. Them was fighting Mayfair gang. I ain't talking about that kind of gang. When we start to talk about shoot them up gangs and bandit organized crime gangs, I ask myself, how is that possible in a country this small? When Camille Bobart was kidnapped, you all remember her? She was one of the first kidnapped victims in this country's history. She was a TSTT employee. You know where they kept Camille? Not in the hills, not in the valleys, not in the forest. Camille Bobart kidnapped and kept in a townhouse in Westmoreland. Now I live in about 9 different townhouses in Westmoreland. If there's one thing I can tell you, they have nothing like your own business in Westmoreland. Because everybody know everybody business in Westmoreland. Oh, he rotating tires regular, so he's somebody. Westmoreland literally lives cheek by jowl. Everybody up under everybody else. And I asked myself, how was that possible? That nobody knew. Marlon Dukaran sent out a video this week here, a little PowerPoint presentation that the chairman, whatever Gervais Warner is in Massey, is the managing director, CEO, chairman, whichever those titles he have, he sent it out on WhatsApp. And Marlon Dukaran, in her little PowerPoint that she sent out, alluded to information in that thing. And I was wondering, how is it possible that this country could be that mismanaged and nobody in authority, not one single prime minister to date, has done anything of substance to make this country functional. And you should watch that little WhatsApp PowerPoint. You should watch it and read some of the things that she raised. Because I find since the Progressive Empowerment Party talking about money and time and failure to govern, a lot of people who heretofore were afraid to speak out are speaking out now and are bringing information. The same way that when you cut off funding to criminals in public office, they had to increase their activity somewhere else. People are finding their voices now, and it's a good thing. And it's a very good thing. But I need to say this, and I'll close with this. Albert Einstein said, You cannot solve a problem operating at the same mental position, the same wavelength that you were operating at when you created the problem. You cannot. And he's correct. The PNM and the UNC are not incompetent. That's not the problem. They're not incompetent. They're deliberately incompetent. And that is something that you have to come to terms with. That the source of all of your misery, you voted into office. Because they took your vote and your trust and used it against you. And all of this information that you have now, all of it will count for nothing. All of it will count for nothing if you vote back either of those parties. Because the deliberate incompetence that created the environment for such massive corruption to take root to the point where the average citizen in this country trusts no government, no public servant, no arm of law enforcement. They don't trust licensing office. They don't believe anybody. When a woman could go into a public health center in Marabella 3:45 and the entire staff paid with her public funds, threaten her with police if she don't leave the premises with her sick child. If we continue forward, if you believe that it is possible, knowing now that 7,000 children every year age out of an education system failed with no choices. If you know that 7,000 children age out of that system at the age of 16 and 17 every year and come out with no hope, no chance to better themselves, looking now for a hustle, man have to live, man have to eat, man have to get driver's permit and get car and take girls out. The things that drive the children in Goodwood Park, Valsayn, Sinclair, Fairways and Palmies drives the same children in the poor communities too. Ghettoarians need love. And if they can't get it through dint of sweat and effort, they will get it through crime. Make no mistake. If you continue to vote for two political parties that have allowed the education system to fail 7,000 children every year, in the past 10 years, they've created 70,000 failures and gave it to society and say, manage that. The education system of Trinidad and Tobago, under the PNM and the UNC, under Kamala Manning Pandey Rowley, estimate 70,000 failures until you deal with the consequences and the fallout of that. And you asking yourself why we have crime? Why? We planting orange and want to pick mango. We planting onion and want sapodilla. We have an education system that is actually creating criminals. We have a justice system that can't keep up. Mala Dukaran's PowerPoint presentation said 16% detection rate for law enforcement. 16%. That is abysmally bad. That is woeful. How could you have a country where the Attorney General says that there are 46,000 cases in the courts, and that represent 16%? Come now, man, let's link all these conversations now. Because when they leak out this fact, when they open their mouth and they give information, critical thinkers ask, if that represents 16%, then you're talking about 225,000 criminal acts from murder to sneakers, thief, and weed smoking goes undetected. We are incapable of managing the 46,000, the 45,000 that you have in the system. We have no way to manage it. Vernon de Lima told me, Philip, 12 murder cases a year is all that we could handle. If you have 3,000 murderers on remand, they already in jail for the next 50 years, and we calling them murderers because they are arrested, but we don't know. We don't know if the case will we don't know if they're going to get prosecuted. Oliver and Jacques Claude, let's stick a pin now. But we don't know if the case will get prosecuted. We don't know what the outcome will be. We don't know if they really are guilty. And it is a human rights travesty to put anybody in jail for 50 years without a trial. All of this, deliberate incompetence, all of this, your media is supposed to talk to you about morning, noon, and night, every day till we fix it. The country is not broken today. None of these statistics fresh. This ain't just pick. This is decades old failure. This is crime so rampant. When Manning tell you 50 million for friggin', we call the thing a blimp. Buy it, boy. And I used to think, if you drive in a blimp and you see a man lock a next man neck, what you gonna do? Shout. What you will do? We come in. What you do? But it was never to solve problems. The problems were never to be solved. Operation Anaconda, Operation Baghdad, Operation My Half Red Ass, none of them was meant to solve problems. All of them was meant to do one thing: spend money. Spend money. We are about to spend $1 billion. $1 billion to build a hospital in Port of Spain that has been condemned since September. Now I want to tell you this. I showed you all a document that was sent to Patrick Manning that the Port of Spain General Hospital was a disaster waiting to happen. And we knew that. We knew that since Manning. But since September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months now, the 500 beds that they pull in their hair out of their head and they're saying, we need. But I ain't seeing the crisis because they're going to Mount Hope. And they're going to San Fernando. Now the Couva Hospital has 230 beds. Somebody said today, this man, Philip Alexander, need to shut up. He don't listen, when he don't know what he's talking about. You know how far Couva is from Port of Spain? And I want to ask her, how far is Port of Spain from Couva? So we only care about the people in town. That's what you're trying to say? That's what you're trying to say? That we only care about the people in town? I'm not saying that we don't need to build some sort of facility where the condemned Port of Spain patient block is. But I'm saying it shouldn't cost $1 billion because we're costing per bed. And they're telling you 1.2 million US. It's a fair amount per bed when you're building a hospital. And I went and I did my research. And in India, they're building hospitals for 50,000 US a bed. And giving a higher standard than we give in San Fernando, Port of Spain, and Mount Hope. But let us say that $1 million US a bed is a fair price to build a hospital. We're not building a hospital. We're building wards. We're literally building a place for people to lie down on a bed. And that shouldn't cost $1 million US per bed. It is 10 times overpriced. And they're going to tell you that 1.2 million figure because that is based on American prices for teaching hospitals. And I did my research. Then there are people who come in to tell you that they built a hospital we didn't need. I can't argue with that. I wasn't there for the assessment. But I know it exists now. So why not, while you're looking to solve a problem, that have you pulling your hair out your head, why don't you start there? Open that hospital. Open it. 230 people just got addressed. Where is the staff coming from? The staff that can't serve now in Port of Spain because we've condemned the 500-bed ward. Send them cover. Where the doctors coming from? The 51 doctors are just published in the papers that say they graduate and can't get work. Send them there. Hire specialists from wherever you find them in the world and put them on rotation. Put them on call. We have a lot of good doctors in this country that now are just working in private practice because public health is shit. But all of your excuses, they build that to a very low standard, but you hire the same company to build the Port of Spain hospital. Miss me with your bullshit. Every excuse that you raise can be debunked. Open the Couva hospital. Open it. Open it. Put the 230 beds to work. Open it. Open it. And then let us do a frank assessment of our hospital needs by region. The Progressive Empowerment Party is leading by so much example that we've cut the map of Trinidad and Tobago into 5 hubs. North, East, Central, South, Tobago. 5 hubs. 5 regions of service. 5 regions of access from which you can run satellites. All we needed were 5 hospitals. North, East, Central, South, Tobago. And of them have satellite public health centers operating 24/7 with minor surgery suites that could treat and decant to your house. Carnival coming up. And they have plenty people in this nasty country that will take their sick mother, not sick, their old mother, their old father, even the children that they can't take care of and put them in the hospital for a week so they could go and play mass. You ever hear about that? You believe that? That half the people that they decanted from the Port of Spain General Hospital, half of them shouldn't have been in the hospital, taking up a bed in the first place. That they have friends of nurses living in the hospital. Now don't go there, that ward closed. But 9 people living in that ward. But you can't film inside of there. Because the taxpayers paying for your friends' apartments. The doctors and the nurses on guard, they can't speak to the public because if they started to speak out, you would have to jail ministers of health. The Progressive Empowerment Party will break that gag. Let me tell you something. We could have, this is a total, hold on, fasten your seatbelts, because this crossed my mind. When somebody tell me, Philip, Sam Gunn them go get vexed with you. I want to tell you this. Let him get vexed more. The fact that we don't have 5 breweries running in this country, employing 50,000 people, making beer to export to the Central, South, and North American markets. The fact that we only have Caribbean Stag is because governments do not allow foreign investment in the beer market. But the Progressive Empowerment Party will. And it don't have to be Budweiser. It don't have to be Coors. It don't have to be Heineken. The lovely thing about the world is there are about 10,000 brands of beer. Like, what's they say? The number 1 beer consumed in the world is consumed in Australia, Japan, and China is a beer called Kirin. You hear about that? Bring Kirin. Bring Labatt's Blue from Canada. Go Germany and let Germans come and set up real lager and sell it to North America. Sam, I want you to hear me. I want you to hear me. The deliberate incompetency that has protected businesses in this country. I want Cheetos and Hershey's manufacture in Trinidad and teach Rock Jack a lesson. That hog food you're selling as Sunshine Snacks. I want real snack companies to come, and I want to bring them to operate in Trinidad and Tobago to sell duty free to the Caribbean, Central America, South America. Why only the businesses that employing people as low-end laborers could come in this country? Why? Why? The entire nation is a hostage situation. And you want to see how quick you bring people to the negotiation table. Let us start to address. You see, people say, but wait now, boy, Philip, the things you just think about and bring up. How come nobody else to talk about that? We need 10 block factory. We need competition for Trinidad Cement. Cemex alone can't make money here. We need to be able to make sure that all of our people get access to price and jobs. The government's first mission is to make sure that they have more jobs than people. The government's second mission is to make sure that anybody who have a job want to own a home could. The government's third mission is to make sure Trinidad food independent. Fourth mission, put water in everybody tap 24/7. Fifth mission, every child must benefit from a prestige education. Sixth mission, emergency public health care must be within 5 to 7 minutes of every citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Seventh mission, make sure that you have a legislative agenda that undoes and repeals all of these waste of time laws and bring laws that actually serve the people of Trinidad and Tobago. You see, in a quick time, we will secure the borders, establish internal affairs in the police service that will investigate customs, immigration, Coast Guard, Army. Philip, you could do that? Yes! Yes, you could. Yes, you could. It is time to unshackle and unfetter this nation and set it free. It is time to emancipate people of Trinidad and Tobago trapped in a downward spiral, a failed nation, a banana republic where real jobs elude everybody. You're coming out of school now with masters and you're going by KFC. They have no job for you. They have no job for you because the government only interested in dealing with companies that paying them kickback and bribe and hiding it in China. So you can't follow the money. You know how easy this country is to fix. You know how easy it is to open it up to foreign direct investment. You know how easy it is to get all of the banks in this country tripping over themselves to give you service, cancel all them fees, give me a toaster and panini machine every time you walk in the bank. Just bring 5 new banks in this country. Just deregulate and open the market. Let new banks come in. Let 10 banks, 20 new banks. Banks in this country making $1 billion a quarter. It have money here. Why we closed off, dank and fetid? Why is this diluted gene pool and interbreeding and interlocking? Why no real representation for the people? Why the 41 people in the parliament don't talk to you about these things? Why do they pretend that growing food in this country is such a rocket science? Why do they pretend that it is an impossibility to give all the children a proper education and proper functional health care? Why do they tell you that it's not possible to secure the nation's borders? Why? Why? Keep asking those questions. Why? Keep asking why, and then tell them, you know what? We deserve better. We deserve better. Do not hold fast to the belief that what you see is all that can be. This country, fortuitously located, could dominate markets. This little island, Trinidad and Tobago. Barry Boudram, from tonight I am abolishing and banning anybody coming on my threads and talking, we like it so, it bound to stay so. You see all that negativity? It done it. Only stop bringing it on my wall. Look for CNC3 and TV6 and go and talk that bullshit there. See here? All I want to hear is how we fixing it. Stand together, 1.4 million people. Stand together. Stand. And ask them, how come we only have one beer factory in Trinidad? How come Kiss Baking Company don't have competition? How come? How come? And then you will see the real reason for the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce, the Manufacturers Association, and all of these things will be addressed in heartbeats. Information is king. And a progressive empowerment party will open the windows, pull back the drapes, remove the dusters and all the cloaks that have all these things blocked from you. You should know and understand how a country works, how your country could and should work. You want a better country? You want to see the children of Morva, Beetham, Laventille and Sealots grow up in Westmoreland? Give their father and their mother real job opportunities right across that highway where we have that labas. You want to see Scorpion, Big Yard, and Abipujad children thrive? Take them saying out their hand. Give them a marine university in Chagaramas. Give them the opportunity to get involved in shipping and marine industry and see how fast they become millionaires. Open the nation. We spoke to you in 2010 and told you free Wi-Fi nationwide. It costs nothing. We own B-Mobile. We own TSTT. Free Wi-Fi nationwide, because one app could be worth $1 billion. Everything. Everything could fix. Everything could fix. Trinidad and Tobago could become a pinnacle of development. It could become a shining beacon. This Trinidad and Tobago. If you want that, vote for that. We're on the radio 9 o'clock tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.